So with that said, I'll give you 10 seconds and we can ask some questions. And how are we on time? Wow, yeah, I think we're running long. I tend to do that. Sorry, guys. Yes?
I know a lot of hosts have stance on cleaning fees to have them as high as possible, whatever the guests pay. But I've heard other videos of yours that you want the cleaning fee as low as possible. Why is that?
You want your cleaning fees to be realistic. So, call it booking inertia. So you have a listing that's like a 2-bedroom. Market rate for a 2-bedroom is $120 to $280 a night, right? Big, wild spread, depending on how far in advance and how many nights a week. So let's say you get more to the last-minute bookings where it's single-night stays. People are going to pay that $120, and then they're going to pay their cleaning fee and their Airbnb fees. Well, if you have a 2-bedroom and you're charging $120 in cleaning fees, all of a sudden they go from $120 to $120 plus $120 plus fees. They're paying like $300, where initially it looked like $120, right? So people will look at that $120 cleaning fee and decide if they like you as a business or not. At that moment in time, are they going to book with you, right? That point of contention, that booking fee amount, they'll decide if you're a fair person. They actually like to make judgments. So I believe $35 per bedroom is a good ballpark. So studio or 1-bedroom, $35. My 2 bedrooms, we price it like $52 to $60 in cleaning fees because we pay our people by the hour. So our cleaning costs are truly like $20 for a 1-bedroom, $30 for a 2. So we have a really low cleaning fee, like actual internal costs, and we charge what we think guests believe to be a fair cleaning fee, so that way it doesn't inhibit their booking process.
And the higher you charge for the cleaning fee, the more strict they're going to be judging the cleaning as a department.
I do not believe that's true. No, I've not seen. I have not seen Airbnb make a decision on whether or not somebody gets a cleaning fee back based on how much the cleaning fee was. I know country to country that their rules have changed, though, country to country.
But they can give a bad review for that.
Absolutely. They can give a bad review even if you have no cleaning fee and the place wasn't clean when you show up.
Well, from my experience, they get more strict if you charge a higher cleaning fee.
Yeah, so to his point, guests have higher expectations the higher the cleaning fee is.
I just, when I first saw that was one thing in your videos of everything, because I wanted a property that, we always had a low cleaning fee, and then we once had a maid who had a property, and she's like, you could charge $200 in your cleaning fee. We had it like $120. We raised it to $200, and nothing happened. Like, people just kept booking it at that price.
If the market that you're in, Tampa, right? Yeah, so if the market, all the homes in Tampa have a $200 cleaning fee, then you're kind of coming in with the pack, and that's like an expectation, right? Yeah. So the key is to not be somebody that they're like, oh, I don't like this cleaning fee, it's not fair. But you have 4-bedroom homes a lot, right? So big homes, people kind of like expect there to be them big to do about cleaning. So people are more used to that with bigger homes. There may come a time where you decide that you want to take that cleaning fee money and put it into the actual nightly rate and just move it, because people are going to pay whatever they're going to pay by the end of the month, right? So your monthly revenue on your property will largely be the same if you're booked the same number of nights. If it went to the cleaning fee or went to your nightly rate, it almost doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah, I just want to hear what you have to say about this. Part of what I like about having a higher cleaning fee is it deters, I feel like it deters the one-night stays. Have you ever thought about that? Like, because I prefer not to get the one-night booking, so it's kind of, it doesn't make sense to book for one night sometimes when it's a $200 cleaning fee, one night price.
That's always been like the approach philosophically with a lot of hosts, right? Big cleaning fee, no one-night stays, right? But you can do that with your single nightly rate, right? Like we talked about before, jack up your nightly rate and then do multi-night discounts. Because what'll happen is, let's say you're trying to get a booking tomorrow, right? And you're willing to take the final price of $250. Let's say your cleaning fee is like $150. Like you pay somebody $150 to clean, and you'll take the final price of $250. Well, if your cleaning fee is $250, the lowest you can charge is $10 plus $250. That looks, on Airbnb, that looks so weird. If you set your nightly rate for $10 and then the cleaning fee is $250 to reach that final price of $260. So by having a lower cleaning fee, it allows you more maneuverability in last-minute bookings. So I'm not saying that you should charge on a 4-bedroom home like a $120 cleaning fee and just kind of go back to that. If you're having success and you're not having any challenges with your booking strategy at $200, keep it, right? The moment that I would look at your cleaning fee as a problem is if you start seeing a problem with like last minute bookings, you can't fill up the last minute parts of your calendar. The main parts, they're getting booked, no problem. But if you're stuck at 85% occupancy and you can't get to 95, I would consider the cleaning fee as probably one of the issues. And I would just make a duplicate listing that is only available for the next 2 weeks with a different cleaning fee structure. You can keep the one that you have now, sync them together, and then have this Plan B listing that has a different pricing structure with a lower cleaning fee. So that way you can still get like the benefits of the $200 one for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 10 weeks out. But today, tomorrow, the next day, you have another one that has like an $80 or $120 cleaning fee. There's nothing wrong with having two listings representing the same. I'm going to A/B test properties soon. I'm going to change one small thing. I'm going to sync them together. I'm going to have two nearly identical listings, but there's going to be one thing different. Like I'm going to raise my cleaning fee by $3, and that'll be the only difference. And I'll see how it affects my booking. Like I'm going to start playing with really small stuff. So you can totally do it. Oh, he actually raised his hand first. I'm sorry. And then you.
Do you think your education and YouTube business will ever take over your property management or rental arbitrage business, where this one makes more money than this, and I'm just going to focus on this going forward?
I don't know. I thought my newspaper business was going to be my main source of income. Then Airbnb happened, right? So I have a philosophy that I do not want to simply be somebody who tells you how to do something and not do it myself, right? And the channel has always been like, hey, I just did this 2 days ago. Here's what I learned 2 days ago. I want to keep that as much as possible. There may be a point where like maybe Sakova Entertainment does like a world tour for Airbnb hosts, and I make some stupid amount of money talking to people about Airbnb, and it like eclipses it. Who knows? But what matters is the integrity, right? As long as the content is always the truth and is always exactly what should be talked about from hard-won experience, then I really don't care where the money comes from or if there's necessarily money coming at all, right? I think I'm happy where I am. I mean, more is cool. More is cool. We'll see.
Hey, Sean. First of all, thank you for being such a cheerful giver, okay? Because you share so much information. We have all learned a lot from that. Now, earlier in your conversation, you mentioned that you owned your business and you didn't seek out investors and things like that. Knowing the information from trial and error, if you rewound it, how would you scale on a larger size? So like when you first started, you did one property, paid that off, then used that money to get another property. So years later, now you know how to scale at a much faster rate. So the information that you have today, without having to use investors, how would you go about that process?
Well, first, I would not have promised to not take investment on my YouTube channel, right? So that's one reason why I don't take investors, because I said I wouldn't. You have 3 barriers to growth, and you all have to manage them at the same time. This is cool. I forgot I could actually talk about this. This is fun. All right. Money is one. If you don't have the money, you can't get furniture. You can't pay your rents. Deal flow. If you don't have the properties, you can have millions of dollars and no front doors to put furniture in, right? I guess you could build your own property at that point. And then 3, staff. You cannot do this alone. Those are your 3 barriers. If I had 4 times as much money, I would have needed to solve a staff bottleneck and a deal flow bottleneck. You will get new problems when you're oversupplied on one. You may get too many doors. Like that guy is like, hey, how many doors you want? You want 1,000? You'd be like, sure, but hold on. Let me get the money and the people, right? You can have one, but not the other 2, and you still don't grow any faster. So fundraising has never been my challenge, because as fast as my company could grow organically, I just happen to have enough money to reinvest. So if I wanted, that's why we're stabilizing at 100 and looking at systems, because if we do take on a deal with Goldman Sachs and try to take on 1,000 or 2,000 doors, that will become a separate business where we do a round of fundraising and try to snatch $5 million or something. And then we have to hire somebody who's really good at HR to solve all of our human resources problems. And there'll be months and months of hiring before we even take our first door down, right? So that is another stratosphere. And so every time your business grows, it grows from just being you and some money, right, to being you and some housekeepers and some money and some doors, to use some housekeepers and a property manager. You, housekeepers, property manager, a maintenance person, and some customer service staff, some runners, which is cool. And then you start doing like logistics solutions where you have storage units in every apartment complex, and then you have like actually like the storage garages in between your apartment complexes, so you can ship in $12,000 of toilet paper and all this other stuff and spare TVs and have them regionally stored or locally stored within your city. So that way, if a TV goes missing in one unit, your housekeeper just goes down the block, opens up a storage unit, and grabs this big TV that they need, right? So logistical solutions become the next bottleneck for running at scale, right? Money is not the solution. Money just makes it, like, it solves that 1/3 of the problem. So I probably would not have done it differently. I don't think I could imagine having hired more people, considering everything else that I do at the same time. Like, I have a hard enough time trying to upload YouTube videos twice a week, you know? I'm running low on time. So my biggest problem right now is I need to clearly define job descriptions, budgets for those people, find ways to make sure that those people like help my company return the money that I'm spending on them, right? The company needs to grow with the new people. So I need to hire reliable people who affect the bottom line, that I'm not just having what you call wage bloat, right? Wage bloat is where you hire people and you get no revenue increase. So your margins just go away because you're paying it all to wages. Wages are the most expensive part of operating a business. And that's why Taco Bell, McDonald's, Wendy's, they're trying to use computers instead of people now to flip their burgers and fold their tacos, because wages are expensive.
So when you started off with just the one and then the two from the tenants that you lost, how quickly did you get into the master lease of a 10-unit deal?
I ignored Airbnb for 2 years while being an Airbnb host because I was so certain that the newspaper industry was going to be my thing. So 2014 through 2016, fall of 14 to fall of 16, I just had a few doors. And I'm working on my media consultancy. I'm like, oh, I'm saving newspapers. I'm learning to code. Like, I'm in Jackson, Mississippi at a coffee shop called Cups, learning to code PHP and JavaScript 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. While my businesses are automated, I'm learning to write software because I thought I was going to save the newspaper industry with a software solution. You know what I've done with that? I've made a software that unlocks the front door of apartment complexes for me. That's what I've done with my software. After all that time. There's one over here.
Actually, I have two questions.
Okay.
I'd like to, actually would have liked to hear this from everybody. Once you get to a certain amount of doors, I know that Airbnb only gives you host and co-host. Do you have are you a host on everything and you just stay in the background? Or how do you keep from being just on the phone 24/7?
So I'm a secondary host. I have 4 revenue generating accounts that split my territories up geographically. Houston, Dallas, Philadelphia, and then I've got a 4th one, which is like the doghouse, listings that don't perform as well, right? And those generate all my monies. Then I have 2 separate co-host accounts. One, there's a Dallas-specific primary host account because we've got about almost 50 doors in Dallas, and so my team just wants to have that. And then I've got another primary host general for everything else. So all my staff, they log into the primary host accounts. The money-generating accounts, they don't log into because that's where the bank account information's in. And then my personal account is like a secondary or a non-visible co-host on everything. So I can keep a watch.
So is that something you get when you have multiple properties? Because right now, I only have the ability to have a co-host and myself.
Well, you can add a co-host, invite, they accept. You can then add another co-host. Yeah, you can add as many co-hosts as you like. You can have 3 pending invites. You cannot invite more than 3 at once. Yep. Because they don't want you like spamming a bunch of people to be co-hosts. I know they don't want to have a bunch of pending invites. I don't know. Well, so a co-host allows somebody to log into an account that's not yours and run your business from Airbnb. See, if you have a channel manager, people would log into the channel manager, but we grew to 100 doors without a channel manager. We grew through the Airbnb platform alone. So the co-host account was kind of like our channel manager, where an employee could log in and communicate with guests, change the calendars, change the schedule, but they can never change our bank information and go, oh, let me just redirect all the payments to my account. Right? My mentor, when I was in high school, I worked for him. I'm actually water and mold certified because of this guy. I used to clean carpets, pull insulation out of attics with this dude in hazmat suits. It was real fun. He hired an accountant to do his books, and she ran off with his entire bank account. Yeah, don't do that. So finances has been the last thing that I've ever given away. Ever. The power of the pen over finances, no thank you. So a co-host account prevents somebody from rerouting your bank information and getting paid for all of your listings. Yeah. That's why. And then you, and then you. Oh, or you actually, you're behind the camera, sorry. So you first and you, sorry.
How do you ensure that you're only working with decision makers when you're doing rental arbitrage? So you're working with like a BM company and you have like an assertive leasing agent who says, oh, I can handle it, even though you're trying to pick up, say, like 20 units at once.
Technically, the leasing agent is an authorized representative of the landlord. Anything that they give you in writing is binding. But let's continue, hypothetically. So, the two major hurdles for decision makers tend to be leasing agents and realtors. Realtors representing single-family homeowners want to make sure that they get paid their commission, so they don't want you meeting the landlord without them, right? So they'll try to screen you as if they're the decision maker. So when I'm calling single-family homes, like actually in Philadelphia, I was walking around calling yard signs like you before I met my realtor buddy who I'm using in Philly. What I pitched him on, I'm like, hey, I've got a corporate housing company. And the reason why we say corporate housing companies is because people generally understand the concept of corporate housing. You are then going to sell by analogy and tell them what's different later, but you start in the ballpark of corporate housing. So I have this corporate housing company. We're we're looking for a few single-family homes in the neighborhood. I need to speak with the landlords because, of course, it's a business, so it's a little bit different than a regular residential lease. And now I don't want you to get cut out of the deal, so I would like to meet with you and the landlord over coffee at one of their properties to talk about the deal. So that's how you get past the realtor and bring them in on the conversation. The leasing agent, you just tell them you want a lot of doors, and the leasing agent gets nervous and tags in their boss, right? The bigger the deal, the more likely you get to the regional. A lot of calls, people are like, man, I can't get somebody on the phone. Like they won't email me back. I'm like, well, how many leases did you tell this building you were going to go for? He's like, 2. I'm like, the regional is not going to email you back over 2 leases, man. Tell him you want 20. Like, what? I'm like, yeah, tell him you want 20. He's like, I don't have the money for 20 yet. Well, not yet, but you're going to take 20 eventually, right? Tell him you want 20. Get him on the phone. Tell them your business model. This is what you want to do. You have the appetite. Here's one of my favorite lines to give a leasing manager, not like the little guy, but like the leasing agent's boss or regional. I'll say, we have the appetite to spend $1 million a year in rent in this neighborhood. That's not a lot of leases. That's like 40 leases, 50 leases maybe, right? So we have the appetite to spend $1 million a year. And if we like your building, we'd be willing to put a majority of that in your building. So can I see the property? Can we take a look at the leases and talk about our business model? Talk big, they'll respect you, and now you're getting the decision maker on the line because the little leasing agent's not about to lose $1 million a year deal, are they? No, you just have to talk big. Swing a big bat. Yeah, it was you next.
Take one more question.
Cool.
It's almost time.
So, and this may be too basic, but I heard you answer it and I didn't totally understand it. So a guest who does damage at our property and we need to collect on that damage, but I also don't want a pissed off guest who's going to give me a negative review. What am I supposed to be doing? It seems like you said something about...
Things are so rapidly changing in this space because of Airbnb's IPO and everything. Their rules are changing all the time. Their enforcement's changing. They used to be way more relaxed. My manager in Dallas, she is doing some like cutting edge stuff here. She's having staff take video as soon as possible after an incident to prove that we're not at fault. Airbnb is accepting video as the holy grail right now. Photos tend to not be enough anymore. So if you have a guest who tries to say a place is dirty, right, and they want a refund, you can go take video and show it to Airbnb, and they'll take that as proof, by the way. But your question was actually about if you want money from a guest, right? So in this case, yeah, so real-time documentation. You need to take photo proof immediately after the guest checks out and upload that to Airbnb. Robert's not, there he is in the back. You will give them the intent to open a case. You will call a case manager. You need to escalate it to a case manager level. It can't be just a person on the phone. Tell them, I am going to be opening up a resolution for this money, but this guest is going to likely leave me a retaliatory review if I open the resolution before they leave me my review. So for the sake of fairness on my review, I'm going to wait until after the review period is over or until they leave me my review. And then you ask for a ticket number, and you ask for them to email you that ticket number, with like the understanding that you just stated and that your intention is to open up a resolution later. But you give that case manager the proof of damage, and the case manager will attach it to the ticket, and you're basically just proving that the damage was done by that guest. That's what Airbnb's policy is like the reason why they're so strict is because they're basically saying, well, if we can't prove it was that guest because it's been 2 weeks, then we are not going to pay you out on the resolution. Well, by opening up a ticket with a case manager, that has been the highest percentage hit rate. It may not be guaranteed because Airbnb seems to not like 100% stick to anything, unfortunately, because there's a lot of moving parts on the inside, but that's the best we've got. Okay. You have not asked a question. We're going to give the last one to you. And I'll still be around, so you guys can ask me things one-on-one.
How do you feel? I have an international well, we have a building.
Now you're just bragging.
No, I'm not bragging. But I'm just wondering, how you, is that, we're thinking about Airbnb in it, we just haven't thought, and I'm just wondering what you think about.
Where is it?
It's Double City. It's in the Philippines.
Absolutely. So, if I'm going to give you a more in-depth answer, you own the building, right? The cool thing about Airbnb is it's so rapid iteration, you can decide if you like it or not in weeks and just change your mind, right? You own the building. You've got to do something with it. Give it a shot. If you don't like it, you just turn it into student housing or regular rents, right? Or you sell it to somebody else, make it their problem. The one thing I want you guys to know is that rental arbitrage can be done anywhere, and with ownership, there might be a solution for this too, but I've got this little hack. If you want to succeed in rental arbitrage, get your rents under market. Just pay less than anybody else. Half of this battle is not getting more money from your guests, it's paying the landlord less. I negotiate a free month per year, and I try to get that all up front, right, as a lease concession. Then I go back later and try to get them to give me 8 or 10% off of the remaining rents that I pay. But if I just got a month for free every year, I just got 8% off anyway, up front in free rent concessions, and then I go back and try to get another 8% off, right? I have gotten 23% off from a building and gotten 6 weeks free. 6 weeks free plus 23% off of market rate on what I pay. By doing that, I am guaranteed, as long as that rent market that I negotiated was like an average competitive rent rate, I'm guaranteed to make 30% more than I would have if I did zero negotiation. And this insulates you against a recession because you can always just flip it to a long-term rental and pay, like get people to pay market rate for a furnished one, where everybody else is selling an unfurnished at the same price. You've got a better product at the same price, and you can ride out a recession. So negotiate low, buy smart, not just sell, but buy smart, save money on the way into your deal, and you'll obviously that's like more money in your bottom line. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.